A ship belonging to the Spanish NGO Open Arms is getting ready to leave for Gaza via a new sea corridor carrying humanitarian aid for the people of Gaza. It'll depart from the port of Larnaca in Cyprus, where it's been loaded with food. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen says the EU will help coordinate the relief effort alongside the US, United Arab Emirates and other countries. Now, this follows President Biden's announcement that the US military would build a floating pier off the Gazan coast to facilitate aid deliveries. Here's more from the Commission President.
And today we are facing a humanitarian catastrophe in Gaza. And we stand by the innocent civilians in Palestine. And this is why Europe is financing a major humanitarian aid effort for Palestinians in Gaza and in the region. We are now very close to the opening of the corridor, hopefully this Sunday. And I'm very glad to see that an initial pilot operation will be launched today.
Let's pick up some of those points with Ahmed Bayram, who's a regional media and communication advisor for the Norwegian Refugee Council. He joins us from the Jordanian capital, Amman. Welcome to DW. We just heard Ursula von der Leyen saying she hopes this new maritime corridor could open this weekend. Do you think that's realistic?
Good evening, Phil. Thanks for having me. In terms of this being realistic, probably. We hope so, at least that, any aid from any side of the border comes in to Gaza. However, the question is, what happened to the actual land routes that we have? Have we given up on those? Have we given up on convincing Israel to allow more aid in? And have we given up on diplomacy as a tool of bringing some relief to people who are literally starving in Gaza right now? I mean, this scheme is welcome because people are so desperate, particularly in northern Gaza, where we are hearing reports of children dying of malnutrition. However, what we need to see is the reopening, the full reopening of the land crossings in Rafah and Krämer Shalom.
Right. Well, perhaps you could answer your own question. Do you believe that we have given up on reopening the land crossings?
I mean, all this distraction we're hearing in the media, this new promotion of port and maritime routes and this corridor from Cyprus does tell us that it looks like the ramping up of aid routes, land routes, which are the fastest, the most efficient and the most affordable, the least expensive and the quickest. It looks like we are now looking at a scenario where, this has been so politicized that we're not able to, bring in just extra a few hundred trucks a day to relieve the people. So it looks like more and more, it looks like the diplomacy and politics is now, interfering in the works of aid and aid relief efforts. And at the same time, we're looking at Rafah, which is the zone where, you have two crossings, one Rafah, one in Krämer Shalom, that have been obstructed over the past few weeks. So probably the answer is, I hope not, but it looks like, these alternatives, it looks like they are being floated as a substitute to land routes, and this is the real danger here.
All right. What is the danger? If aid is coming in via sea, and we also have this American announcement of this temporary port in due course. But if aid is coming in by sea, so long as the aid gets in, why does it matter whether it comes by sea or by land?
It does matter because while we're brainstorming how we're going to bring this in, how we're going to construct, where we're going to construct the port, how long it's going to take, there are people who are starving at the moment. And the danger is, as I said, in promoting this as the holy grail, as the replacement of aid routes. And, of course, if that takes place, there are questions about inspections, about who's going to Who's going to oversee who's going to have control over inspections? Is Israel going to also interfere in the shipments that are coming in? Who is going to actually, offload these boxes off the ship docks? It's a whole catalogue of questions that we have to ask, all while displaced people, pregnant mothers, children starve and have to skip meals. And we're talking about Ramadan in the next few days, and that's another reminder that people have been actually almost fasting to death here. Right. In Gaza. So that's the danger. We should not be distracted from the solution, which is the land routes through Rafah, through Krämer. Okay. There are thousands of trucks that could be crossing, and that's what needs to be encouraged.
Given us much to think about. Thank you for joining us, Ahmed Bayram from the Norwegian Refugee Council.
Thank you.
Tania Krämer in Jerusalem told us more about the reaction from the Israeli government.
Well, we got a short statement now from the Israeli Foreign Ministry saying that they're welcoming the decision to establish a maritime corridor, that they will work with all those organizing it. And it said that this initiative will allow more humanitarian aid coming into Gaza. But there's one key point. It also stresses that this will be, of course, done after security checks that are carried out according to Israeli standards. This has been in the past a key point of contention between the humanitarian actors here and Israel, because the screenings and security checks of all the aid going into Gaza via the land crossings has been a really lengthy progress, and it seems it will not be much different also for this maritime route.
That's Tania Krämer. Let's talk to Mike Martin. He's a military analyst from the War Studies Department at King's College London. Welcome back to DW, Mike.
Phil. Hi.
How involved is Israel likely to have been in what looks like a unilateral US decision?
Well, I think actually the security checks that your correspondent cited, some of those in Cyprus are going to be carried out by a team that includes Israeli government officials. So I think it's very unlikely that the US would have launched this initiative without first arranging that piece of choreography with Israel. So Israel is giving its support and indeed being part of the process of opening this corridor.
Right. And we heard the European Commission Chief Ursula von der Leyen expressing the hope that this corridor could open this weekend. Is that realistic?
Well, I think there's two things going on. One is the maritime port or the pier that the US is going to be building, and that won't be open for at least several weeks, if not a month. Need to get the equipment from the US and all the rest of it. But the US seems to be, the EU seems to be talking about another initiative where they are sending ships, but they need to dock somewhere else. So they either need to dock at an Israeli port or at a port in Egypt. And other ships have left Cyprus over the preceding months and have taken these routes. So I think there's two things going on.
Right. I mean, this isn't a question for you, I suppose, but one wonders if they can do this now with no port, why this wasn't done months ago.
Well, indeed.
I know that's not really one for you. It's just one that just occurred to me. Let's talk about this port, this temporary structure. How complicated a logistical exercise is that likely to be?
It's actually pretty easy. What you need to do is put a floating dock in place, and a country like the US will have lots of these in its supplies, and then you anchor that. You put an anchor down to the seabed, and you secure it with chains. And then once you've done that, and that will be several hundred meters off the coast, you then have a pontoon causeway that links up to the land. So that bit's pretty easy. The bit that's really difficult is once you get the supplies onto the beach or onto the coast in Gaza, how they get distributed from there. That's the real challenge.
Right. And so we haven't heard anything in this deal about that final bit of this. Who distributes it, distributes the aid, and how? Because this has been a real point of contention across the last 2 months.
Well, one of the things that's happened that I think hasn't been reported very extensively is that the Palestinian police in Gaza have effectively stepped down because they were being targeted. They carry weapons and they were being targeted by the Israelis. And so without police, of course, law and order breaks down. This happens in any society if you get rid of the police. And these are the guys who would be protecting and distributing aid convoys. Other than that, it's NGOs, and I don't think NGOs really have got the manpower to do that. So there needs to be some kind of deal that allows the Palestinian police to come back to work, perhaps not carrying weapons, carrying sticks or something, batons, that enables them to help secure the distribution of aid.
OK, thanks for that, Mike. Mike Martin, thank you so much from King's College London.
Thanks, Phil.